Good evening, everyone. I am Shambhavi Shrivastava from Digital Marketing Team Inoday, and I welcome on board all the panelists and participants to inoday-NetSuite April 2022 webinar, which is focusing on timely and accurate financial closing and consolidation. Our agenda for today is to know about Inoday, come across challenges with financial closing and consolidation, its timely and accurate close, an overview of NetSuite financials followed by a product demo. We'll discuss some case studies, and then we'll end up with a Q&A round. Before we go ahead in detail, let me give you a brief about Inoday. As a certified custom software development company and an award-winning NetSuite solution provider partners in India, we are committed to delivering uncompromised cloud-based ERP solutions. We cater to business domains across different industries, and at present, we are focusing in logistics, services, and e-commerce sector. Along with recognition of #1 NetSuite partner in India, and that we take as a great pride, we have earned trust of our clientele by eliminating key bottlenecks within the stipulated time, delivering exemplary services with great confidence, strengthening workforce irrespective of the business size, and handling expense with exclusive execution of business vision. We believe in taking an out-of-the-box approach to deliver tailor-made solutions for unique business requirements. We are committed to ensure successful implementation and render our support across all the verticals, and that has helped us win many accolades and many more to cherish in upcoming days as well. Moving on, I would like to introduce our speakers for today. It's CA Pradeep Joshi, SME CA Indian Taxation from Inoday Consultancy Services Private Limited, and CA Uttam Kedia. He is Principal Sales Consultant from Oracle NetSuite. Now, I'm handing it over to Mr. Pradeep Joshi. Over to you, sir.
Thanks, Shambhavi. Thanks to all the joiners for joining us. Friends, as we know that timely and accurately financial close is very crucial aspect for any business process in regard to reporting, statutory compliances, decision making, etc. So before going further, we will look at the common challenges that organizations face in the closure of financials. The first challenge we can list as tiresome and time-consuming process. Then we face the challenge of manual data management is prone to errors. After that, it comes lack of resources or far-flung teams. And then, last but not the least, and most important challenge is lack of effective and efficient tools. How we will go through how we can overcome the challenges in timely and accurately close the financials. Firstly, the organization must check for inefficiencies. Business organizations must check operational bottlenecks and check for inefficiencies. For instance, delaying accounts reconciliation, lack of invoicing capabilities, and complex chart of accounts can be the key bottlenecks hindering your timely and accurate financial close and consolidation. Figuring out these root causes can help a finance department of any organization move ahead in the right direction. Then, the organization needs to overcome the challenge of absence of standard operating procedures. Without a documented and continuous steps in financial close, any organization is going to witness inefficiencies throughout the close and consolidation process. You can streamline the process for every individual or team involved in closing by setting a standard and precise SOP that everyone on board should follow. Your standard operating procedure should cover standardized and detailed instructions around financial close alignment and optimization. It should indicate what tasks are assigned to which roles along with the deadline. This way, your accounting teams don't have to wait to receive data at the right minute. After that, SOP measure, the business need to implement the measure of access of information. Your accounting teams require data from all the departments to complete the closure. These departments include sales, shipping, procurement, marketing, human resources, etc. However, every department remains occupied with their own set of tasks and might not anticipate the urgency or attention to the detail that accountants do. In such a case, giving your accounting teams direct access to the systems with relevant information can help them save and reduce dependency on other departments. This will help an organization close and consolidate financials time. Then friends, the next measure is to check the journal entries. Your accounting team can create a journal entry checklist to follow each month. This helps financial administrators to document and account for every bit of information. Your journal entries can cover type of transaction, the date executed, the amount, a brief description, a journal number identifier. You can opt for a template to ensure comprehensive journal entries. Then friends, fifth measure to overcome the said challenges is automated data entry. Implementing e-invoicing that are imported directly into accounting systems help close and consolidate financials. Manual data entries are prone to errors and can cause financial risks. With such capabilities, you can manage calculations like depreciation and allocations. And then last but not the least measure to overcome the challenges is continuous accounting. With continuous accounting or a continuous close process, you can come across distributed workload over the entire month. You will feel free from accumulation of all tasks for the end of the month. For instance, posting journal entries and reconciling accounts can be embedded in day-to-day activities. This way, you can keep your journal ledger up to date. Business organizations can easily close financials at any point during the month and minimize their workload as well. Additionally, your accounting team can make the most of a continuous accounting to spot errors sooner and avoid delays in closing the books. So friends, till now, we have figured out the challenges and noted the measures to overcome these challenges in timely and accurately closure and consolidation of financials. Now, to help our participants get a complete overview around NetSuite financials, I give the charge to CA Uttamji for his insights on NetSuite financials. Over to you, Uttamji.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pradeep ji. Thank you, Shambhavi, for the great introduction. So yeah, wonderful insights and the stage perfectly set from the requirements perspective, the need of the hour, the way that we are kind of looking things as such. So let me just share my screen as well, Pradeep ji. I'll just try to share my screen here. So before we get onto the application, let me share a brief overview of the application offering. Primarily what we are offering is NetSuite. NetSuite as a platform, and it's a comprehensive ERP that actually helps not only the accounting checks, but it brings in the discipline, the entire financial consolidation and the close as a process. As to like how do we kind of bind this entire thing with a set of discipline, with a set of procedures, and those kind of controls can actually make us more stronger in terms of third-party validations and checks that are required on a day-to-day perspective. So to introduce the core business primarily, which is centering around customer and customer management, the entire order to cash cycle, right from billing to revenue. So those are key aspects, definitely are part of the solution. And then we have aspects of procurement, inventory, warehouse management, the entire supply chain aspects complementing this. So that's the complete ERP that we're talking about. And there is a facet of project management, which is very specific to the nature and the way we work nowadays. So every business initiative is more like a project, and even there are like IT and ITES organizations which work day and night in the project framework. So there is a project management cycle right from the initiation of the project to the resource management, time and expense, accounting for the project in terms of project profitability and financials around the same. So the entire bit of functions and feature functionalities are kind of embedded on the platform, and these are all the core application that we talk about. Being a cloud application, every individual, right from top management to people on the ground, they will have their own login IDs and set of responsibilities, roles and responsibilities to access. There are accesses to third-party external systems as well, so vendors and customers can have some access in order to get their transaction view as to like how far that has been processed. We can connect to external systems as well through APIs with the REST API, SOA API. So it's a complete offering that we have, and it is kind of very comprehensive from a platform offering perspective. We are going to focus a bit on financial management because that is the heart of the entire ERP. So having introduced the entire platform that we have, and we have an CRM application as well from a offering perspective. So there is a customer relationship management and the entire lead to opportunity, and finally getting into converted into a sales order. That particular piece of business process is as well covered. So having said so, the focus is primarily around how do I get the financial discipline, and there are typically a lot of challenges that we kind of run through. So whether it's a chart of accounts from a reporting perspective, whether it's a segmental reporting that we need to have, which are typically manual and often time consuming, or it could be specific to a particular function aspect in terms of assets for that matter, the entire asset life cycle, how do we capture that and things like that. Or there could be aspects of how do I maintain my budget versus actuals and track the performance around the same. And of course, there is a way to kind of bind this entire thing. So whether it is a legacy application or even for manual application, we definitely need to work on a period to period perspective. So with all these, and these are like, again, symbolic in nature. So all these challenges are something that we're trying to kind of address through NetSuite. NetSuite being a cloud offering, it's a single database, which actually gives you the unified objects are across the platform, and you get any transaction accounting which is visible across application. And being cloud based, you can access it from anywhere, anytime. The alerts and the KPIs are available real time perspective. So are the other functions. So depending upon every need of the function, every individual can access in those particular things. So those are primarily the financial solutions that we're trying to bring in from the financial management perspective. Again, be it a financial management or any other part of the function. Primarily, the roles are it's a role-based system. So every role has set of responsibilities and roles and features and functionality to access it. So we can actually define those roles in a very symbolic thing, whether it's an accounting role or a senior role, which is maybe a controller or a senior executive in the thing, or somebody who's an out-and-out reporting person who's primarily reporting. So we can devise those roles based on our own requirement, and they can be configured to our own to the requirement perspective. So again, very importantly, the system is completely multi system that we talk about, multilingual, multi-tax. It's a global platform wherein the headquarters can be at anywhere across the region. Then it could be regional headquarters. So again, we can have something like a headquarters in India. There could be some regional headquarters, including APAC, EMEA, and America. And again, within these things, India could actually be again somewhere here that we can actually define every in the individual country with their local currency and calendar currency and chart of accounts. So those are the way that we actually define those transactions, getting accounted in the local transactions, getting consolidated at different levels. Each of these is a separate legal entity, will have its own trial balance and profit loss account. You can get consolidation here, or anywhere across at the global parent level as well. So that's a broad, and it's again a very symbolic platform that we're talking about. There are facets of design that we can talk through. So whether it is general ledger, which is completely a thick data ledger, which is completely integrated with the unified database, and as a result, you have your reporting, your drill downs and reports and drill downs are completely online, and you have they are kind of real time in perspective. So moment we actually punch in a transactions, whether it's in assets or accounts payable or receivable, the accounting entry is automatically posted, and they're getting the eliminations are done automatically. You get your balance sheet and everything available on a real time perspective. So that's the beauty of the speed and agility is the beauty of the entire platform. Just a view of how do we kind of consolidation. So consolidation, again, based on every individual country is representing a particular currency. It is representing a particular country as well. Will have its own legislature from a taxation perspective as well. And the very whole nodal structure is the way we consolidate. So there's an headquarters, and then there are like local regional headquarters, and then there are like individual countries where the transactions are getting reported. Finally, so Canada, US East and US West are getting consolidated Americas. Australia and Japan is getting consolidated APAC. So similar, so on and so forth, and they are all getting transacted in their local currencies and consolidated in US dollars. So that's the whole aspect from a subsidiary architecture. And these are again very, very intuitive. We can define the way we kind of are. Every business is different. So the whole idea is it is very easy to personalize this, very easy to configure it and use the way that we want it. The dimensional chart of accounts, the red boxes that we see are at the heart of the design perspective, which helps in not only in capturing transactions, but also in the reporting mechanisms. So we have those chart of accounts and they can be extended to certain other transaction items as we kind of require, whether it's project, vendor, employee, the way we want. So again, there's a lot of feature functionalities, the way we consolidate in terms of individual income statement by country that we have, and then there could be an elimination entity which is kind of helping capturing all the real-time clearing accounting entries. As a result, you get the consolidation at the last level. So you have your individual balance sheet and income statements, and you have a consolidated thing, and you also have your elimination aspects as well. And intercompany eliminations often are a big headache, and this is completely been taken care by the system. So whether it's your revaluation, translation, intercompany eliminations, entire thing is kind of handled by the application. Last but not the least, the checklist. This is a view of the checklist in terms of the period close management. So as we understand, every month is typically a period in the system. We can define our own set of periods as well in case we need to have a weekly or a very customized calendar as well. But the whole idea is to kind of how do we maintain those periods? How do we open the periods, close the periods in order to kind of get some kind of discipline as to who enters what, when do we enter, and it's kind of getting audited by the auditors. So there's a complete period close checklist which is given by the system itself. You can take a sequence of activity, whether to do it by subledger, so lock AP, lock AR, and lock other transactions, and then do some kind of, just like the way we kind of do our accrual accounting entries and things like that. It's very symbolic to that we have those date mismatches, negative inventory cost accounting. So all those have been taken into consideration before we can close the period close. So that's the whole idea is the entire system is very guided. We don't need to kind of worry about as to like what needs to be done and how do we kind of handle around the same. There is a complete mechanism. It's completely on the cloud, and at the same time being guided by Oracle based on best practices and leading practices, which helps to kind of take this from a life of the CFO and the controllers and the people who are guardians of this particular system. It's very, very easy in order to adopt and scale this as the business expands. Again, some of the aspects that we talked about in terms of journal entries that we need to have, the attributes around currency, the attributes around exchange rates, the dates, which period, which business it belongs to, how do we kind of segregate. So there's the way to kind of we actually need to capture the intelligent journal entries, just a view as to like how do we capture in, and the specific aspects around different segmentations, whether it's department, class, locations, and other aspects can also be captured in, so that we can get the accounting entries and not only and the reporting mechanisms around the same as well. Instant globalization, as we spoke about, there could be transactions empty, so there could be transactions happening between two different entities, be it similar in the nature or at least in the same level in the org structure perspective. So a sales order for a particular organization becomes a purchase order for the other setup. So this entire intercompany setup model is kind of defined as part of the system itself. We can define this entire thing as to like how do I build up the entire intercompany purchase order, sales order, the transaction flow, the accounting entries, and the effect of that particular transactions, including the clearing accounting entries, are all taken care by the system. Just moving on, a view around assets. Assets is a fairly large chapter by itself, right from the way we kind of consolidate, way we kind of record the asset, the accounting of transactions, the journal entries, the inventory transfers, the way we kind of propose the asset and capture them and run those as depreciation. So there are like various facets of assets. Assets is assets including depreciation and other functionalities is fairly comprehensive. The idea of this particular depiction here is to kind of convey that it's a very, very comprehensive module that we are actually having from each of these subledgers, including assets. So whether we call it as revaluations or disposal of assets or transfer of assets or any kind of reporting that is required from an asset mechanism. So they're all completely out of the box that we have, which can facilitate the compliance and the statutory reporting that is required from the laws of the land. Again, a lot of reports, KPIs and reports are also available. Maybe it's a good time. I'll just kind of help to kind of introduce the application. Hope my screen is visible, I'm on the live instance of Oracle NetSuite. This is again a role-based application of Oracle NetSuite, wherein we have a role of a particular administrator. There could be similar roles for accountant, CFO, controllers. So we can get into different roles, be it for controller, be it for other aspects. Based on every role, you will see this particular dashboard changing. The way that we kind of capture in this particular dashboard is there are like info tiles available. On the top, we have menu, sub-menus. This role kind of guides in as to like what kind of set of responsibilities and the access that this particular role has. To do items are typically on the left. So these reminders are again real time. At any point of time, if I just kind of click in here, I can get in the approved sales orders list, and I can get the complete sales order list as to like what all sales orders are there. I can process them on an individual basis, or I can take it on an individual item perspective as well. So all that is available at any point of time. I can open any one of these transactions, and it will open the particular sales order as well. So that's the kind of thing. It's completely real time. Each of these info tiles, as it like this is about monthly payable sales trend. It could be for weekly. It could be depicted into different formats, and we can get in. These can be exported. These can be downloaded. So you can download these in a PNG or a JPG format, which can be used for our reporting perspective. At the same time, these are all real time. So at any point of time, we can get a view as to like what exactly it is. And not only this is about payables, but it can be set up for anything. So these graphical analysis can be for any of these things. So for instance, if I need to have a view for my, say, pipeline deals, in case if I have data, it should represent what kind of pipeline deals that I'm talking about. So on a monthly basis, or on a, say, about quarterly basis, or something, or things like that. So we can actually have a lot of info sites based on that, and these can be configured. There are KPIs that we have. KPIs are again from a finance function perspective. Typically, you have your sales expenses, revenues kind of reported on a period to period basis. So you can have current year vis-a-vis previous year. This can be again depicted into different frameworks. So for instance, receivables trend graph analysis looks like this on a daily basis, maybe something on a weekly basis. Again, if I need to kind of capture it on a monthly basis. So all the views that we typically have can be actually on a different time frame that we can capture in here. They can be represented into different ways, and they can be downloaded as well for our reporting perspective. Most importantly, the change is on the last column is also kind of highlighted with some kind of color code combinations to get you a view as like. So these are again real-time information being depicted in a very intelligent manner, so that the individual concerned is kind of helped with the real-time insight in order to kind of take actions around the business and do the reporting around as and when is required. At any point of time, if I kind of select any particular thing, it will open the balance. It will open the entire trial balance and all the balance sheets and every item aspect that we require. So it's completely integrated, completely real time, and we can configure this. There are a lot of things that are there. The reports and all can be put in a menu format with a shortcut out here, which can actually help us open these. We'll see all the reports there. There are KPIs which can be right from forecast to a particular cash flow. They're all available. Again, these are all real time that we have. The trend analysis that we spoke about, the metrics around the margins that we have, or the EBITDA, or the expense percentage, or the gross profit percentages. All of it is kind of available here. At any point of time, we can see how does it been calculated. It's all real time, sales versus cost of goods sold. And you can actually get into any one of these figures to get a view of the entire sales for the organization. Then there are a lot of other info tiles which represents various other information in terms of how do we capture the customer profitability, whether it is for the fiscal year or for a particular set of data that we talk about. So it's all, again, there are a lot of insights that you can capture in, and they can be available as well. There are portlets as well for different set of people, right from the CFO to somebody who's into different aspects. So somebody who's into part of, say, core finance, he has to handle the chart of accounts, the transaction accounting entries and reporting mechanisms. So that is where the CFO or a particular thing. People who are into, say, for instance, receivables are to do with more about billing, invoicing, sales orders and things like that, the APR report, the AR registers and things like that. So Based on every role and responsibility, we can configure it, we can use it the way we want, we can get a view of our cash outflow, cash outlay, weekly basis, monthly basis, periodic perspective. So again, this is again one of the symbolic thing, including the bank reconciliations and reconciliation summary that we have. This is again a very symbolic thing that I'm kind of explaining. A view of a particular transaction in terms of header information that we have for a sales order, including the customer information, who does it belong to, which particular data we're talking about, to the aspect that how do we kind of bind this with particular line items, the way we kind of capture in terms of how do we record, personalize, in terms of how do we email it. There's an email engine from the system itself where we can actually use to email to outsiders and even within the organization. There are various informations that operationally we can tag in, right from letter to PDF to kind of attach a file and other aspects that we have. So it's again a very intuitive aspects. There are a lot of things that you can have. We have seen a sales order as well, which can be done. There are AR aging summary report that we can capture in. This can be based on transaction date or a due date. You can customize it and can view it around the same. Then there are deferred revenue system. There's a revenue engine itself, which can capture in the how do we kind of defer the revenue, and we can capture in how do we defer the revenue by item, and we can get a report around billing and revenue mechanisms around the same. So again, there are a lot of insights. I'm just kind of highlighting some of the aspects around revenue and the entire billing cycle that we have. There are AP aging report and the AP side of it, which is equally very engaging, and a lot of reports that can be represented in different formats. So let me see if I can actually get some of these reports. We have seen this period close checklist. Again, this is how a live instance of the period close checklist, which needs to be kind of actionated here, and it will give you all the things like how do I log the accounting period for each one of these areas and handle those transactions around the same. So again, it's a completely guided thing that we have it on the system. The reports based on our view in terms of balance sheet, in terms of profit loss account, in terms of other aspects, it can be consolidated, it can be expanded, and it can be further expanded as well. So depending upon the level of details, the chart of accounts are all consolidated. You get a consolidation at an asset level. Assets are bifurcated into fixed assets and current assets, and then you have a complete bifurcation of this particular thing. Again, at any point of time, these are real-time information, so we can drill it down from the here itself to the last level of transactions. Balance sheets can be comparative in nature. You can have a period compared to another period and a variance around the same. So again, there are a lot of reports which actually complements these aspects. They can also be represented in a graphical formats as well, so that we can view as to like how is it been compared and what kind of a composition that we have from a bigger share of the pie vis-a-vis the smaller ones that we're talking about. So these are again some of the aspects that we have. There is an income statement which again very similar to the profit loss account, to the balance sheet. It can also be they can also be integrated in an Excel format as well, and they can be downloaded in an Excel format. So this is how this entire thing can be used to kind of download them in an Excel format, and they can be enabled with all the formulas and everything. It is enabled out here. So again, there's a lot of it that we have it within the system. There's a cash flow engine, cash flow statement based on the indirect cash flows. So the profit and loss adjusted to the working capital, and then further adjusted to the investing, operating, and financing activities, getting you a cash flow statement at the end of the period. So it's a complete offering by itself. I'm just kind of focusing around financials. So are some of the other areas, be it your other functions of business that we talk about. And there's a lot of analytics and reporting which kind of complements this. So as a result, we can get a lot of reports the way we want it, whether it's from inventory, whether it's from budget versus actuals, whether it's from a specific any subledger or particular thing that we're talking about. All of it is available across the platform, and they are on real-time perspective. Well, just kind of further summarize with a set of aspects in terms of there's a particular GST engine, so which actually helps to kind of capture in our India localization aspects, right from setup to how do we kind of do the customer setup management, the transactions and reports that we get out of the system. So all our 23 GSTR 1, 3V, 26Q, 27Q, All of it is available out of the box within the application. The reports can be downloaded, the 26Q and all, as per the format. So are from the GSTR1 and 3Bs that we talk about. So they are all available across the application, and they can be downloaded. A view about from a cloud framework, from a tech aspect, it's a complete native cloud, fully scalable, always available, automatic upgrades. There's no business downtime to maintain, completely maintained by Oracle. Very friendly from a customization and integration perspective. A lot of security at all levels, right from data center to individual network, and the two-factor authentication at the user levels and all. A lot of certifications from the global perspective, keep the data secure. So your data is always secure. It's very secure to the business, and without the business's permission, even Oracle doesn't have access to this particular data that we talk. Being a cloud framework, availability is often a challenge, and that's the kind of performance that we have, and we have been kind of showing on a regular basis. We have spoken about automatic upgrades. Typically, we have 2 releases a year, and all the upgrades are with your permission, and they get customizations also getting carried forward. So the whole idea is like it's a system which is fully scalable, built for the startups, for the growing businesses, and also for mature businesses. The being on the cloud, it's very secure, scalable, and always available. So these are, I would say, these are some of the messages I'd like to leave you with. Very importantly, the way we are kind of structured, it's a one-click dashboard reporting, which is completely intuitive, a lot of financial analysis, and a very comprehensive coverage that we have. From a compliance perspective, whether you call it GST, TDS, Ind AS, IFRS, all of it is covered, and very friendly to update, very friendly to connect and integrate through open API culture, and most importantly, auditable and fully traceable. So whether your third-party validations and your auditors, it's completely compliant and fully available. So with that, I would just hand it over to our next participant to take it forward.
Yeah, thank you, Uttamji. I would like to invite Pradeep Doshi sir again for his case studies perspectives. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Shambhavi, and thank you, Uttamji, for your valuable insights on financial overview, NetSuite financials overview. Friends, now we will come across some of the case studies where Inode leveraged core capabilities of NetSuite financials and helped in overcoming key bottlenecks. One is, we had one of our clients who have their operations around capacity management. They had a challenge that previous ERP solution was too expensive and not comprehensive to maintain along with company's growth. We, Inode, have leveraged inventive capabilities to reduce 50 to 55% in ERP system expenditure with NetSuite. We even deployed our expert at accounting to help them accelerate financial close process. They were having issues with multi-currency management and instance consolidation, and Inode sorted this out within a limited time period. Next one is one of our clients with accounting operations were in a vital need of robust solution to streamline key accounting process and close financials timely without any errors. Inode performed a full-fledged business gap analysis and deployed NetSuite financials capabilities to consolidate accounts receivable, accounts payable, then resolve date or period mismatches, and generate intercompany cross charges, and more steps, as you all can see, to close financials accurately and timely. Then one of our clients across sales and marketing had some challenges with their legacy system and couldn't drive scalability. When they came to us, we took considerable time to understand their pain points and deployed custom solutions. This helped them to reduce monthly financial closure time, improve resource management, and multiple revenue growth as well. This is we are all about. Friends, I hope that we had a great session. Thank you. Thanks for listening to me.
Thank you, Pradeep Doshi sir, and thank you, Uttam Pide sir, for your valuable insights across NetSuite financials and how do we timely and accurately close financials and consolidations. We are open to questions now. Anybody from the participants can ask your queries around timely and accurate financial closing and consolidation. Meanwhile, you're raising your queries, I would like to have our poll question. Kailash, can you please initiate the poll questions so that we can know what exactly the challenges we face across financial closes. So here is the question. Please participate and give your answers. Any queries from the participants or attendees? Apart from financial close or consolidation, if you have any other queries, you can also address them. There's a Q&A section also. If you are uncomfortable while speaking, you can put just your question in the Q&A box and we will address them. Uttamji, would you like to wind up this session with some words?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it's an opportunity to connect and bind the entire flow. Oracle NetSuite kind of gives you a platform which can not only help you do the financial closing and consolidation, but also to record and report your transactions. The way we kind of use and way we are kind of structured in terms of the global landscape. It's available on the cloud, always available, always secure, and that's the message from a perspective that we have. It's an offering from the house of Oracle, so we can be very rest assured. inoday has been instrumental in getting those solutions implementing at our customer places, so they understand the businesses. They are able to kind of understand the customer requirements. So every business is kind of understood by NetSuite and partners like inoday, and they together we make this as a success to implement, and which has been very easily adopted. On a business perspective, we have seen that somebody who has used these applications on a say framework of 3 to 6 months, they become champions to the product, and therefore the renewability and the adoption is very high at NetSuite, and we look to make this a success going forward. With these words, I would like to thank everybody and take this forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Uttamji. If anybody has any kind of queries, we have this our email ID, our website, and our contact number. You can send your queries over there. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining this session.